Hello everyone, and this morning I'm going to do something which has been done probably hundreds if not thousands of times before by different photographers. I'm going to take a photograph of a subject, in this case this sculpture behind me, with the various lenses that I own, to show you the kind of difference in depth of field and perspective that each lens gives. This is a sculpture which was placed here in 2001, and it's actually called The Crossing, and it's to commemorate the approximately 9 million people that it's estimated emigrated from Liverpool to the New World. Anyway, I am going to start off with the Samyang 7.5mm and see what we can generate with that. The intention is to photograph it, keeping it pretty much all in the frame, no matter which lens that I use. And that's the only way that we can emphasize, thank you seagulls, that's the only way that we can really emphasize the difference in perspective and depth of field that you get from these lenses. I'm not going to worry too much about the apertures. I'm going to let that take care of itself, but we'll see how we get on. Okay, so first job is with the Samyang 7.5, and I want to try and keep the top and bottom of the sculpture in the frame with just a little bit to spare top and bottom. Wow, it takes some getting used to this 7.5. Anyway, there we are. Now next up I've got the 14mm Panasonic pancake lens. And this time we've got the 12 to 50 zoom. Now this next shot is with the same lens, 12 to 50, and it is at 25mm. Same aperture, 6.3. Just for comparison purposes, this is going to be the 25mm Panasonic Leica Lumix. Somewhere about there, I think. Now I'm going to do one with the 30mm macro, just about there, I think. We'll have a wander around now and see what else we can photograph while I'm here. Literally a few yards away from that sculpture, we have this one of a certain Mr. Billy Fury. There he is. Billy Fury, who died in 1983, and he was an extremely famous and popular rock star of the 60s. So I think I'm going to take a couple of stills. I think he deserves that. Well, that was a bit of a free-for-all over by the statues. Liverpool Waterfront has been done to death, I think, with a lot of videos. So I thought I'd show you something a little bit different, and that is the entrance to the Royal Albert Dock. The huge steel lock gates there. But I want to do a shot of the juxtaposition between these two buildings in the background. The modern one is the Liverpool Museum, inside which is the Liverpool Overhead Railway carriage, and in the foreground is the at least one of the Harbour Master's buildings. Might be wrong. If I'm wrong on that, I'll put a note down below. But it bears a date of 1883. So we're going to try a shot with the 12 to 50. Okay, now we're coming down past the Lusitania propeller, which I've mentioned before, so I'm not going to bore you with that. But I'm heading down this section of dock, which never gets a lot of visitors, thankfully, because it's a dead end. But down here we do have a couple of bits of interesting infrastructure. I'm going to get wet in a minute. We have an old dockyard crane and something which appears to be much more modern and seems to be painted in that sort of battleship grey. So whether it's World War II vintage or not, I don't know, but I'll show you in a second. Well, this battleship grey piece of kit behind me, manufactured by Gwyn and Company from Hammersmith in London, appears to be some sort of steam-driven crank with an output shaft at the bottom. There's got to be some photos in there, and I'll give you a closer look. Massive, great crankshaft with a connecting rod going up through the middle. And the output, obviously, on this side. So whether that was driving the screws on a warship, I don't know. It is marked with the name Invincible, so I'll have to do a bit of research on that. But it's about, what, 30 feet high? Really, really impressive. Let's do some stills. I absolutely love the way that the main shaft seems to have been hacked off. Great texture on that. But now we're going to, goodness me, just as I say, not very many tourists come down here. 3 people are already approaching. You see a guy with a camera and think, oh wow, let's go and have a look what he's doing. So I'm going to wait for a few minutes for them to pass before I tell you about this thing behind me. So here we have what I presume is a dockyard crane, obviously drawn by locomotive. You can see that it's been placed back on reconstructed rails. Manufactured by Taylor and Company from Birkenhead, so very much a local thing. And fascinatingly, this black box you can see on the back end is a counterbalance weight, so they can adjust how far forward or how far back this goes to counterbalance whatever it is they're lifting at the other end. All manual, of course, there's no power to this, and I guess it must be early 20th century, if not late 19th. I'm not a railway aficionado, but because it's manually operated, that's my feeling. So let's take some stills. What I like about industrial subjects like this are the textures that you can get on the wood with the moss growing on it, the bolts, the old paintwork. So hopefully I've managed to capture something in these images. So there we have dockside crane number 17. Now, apart from the fact this is obviously some sort of boiler stroke furnace, I have no idea of the use it was put to. There's a maker's mark of Phoenix, the Phoenix Foundry of Liverpool, and it's dated 1810, so pretty damned ancient. Whether it was a permanent fixture here on the dockside or not, I don't know. If I manage to find out anything, I'll let you know. I'm just giving you a look over the side of the graving dock here, which is between me and the old pilot boat. And beyond that, we have Man Island, all the new developments with the Liver buildings, Cunard building in the background. And this dock, excuse me, is a dry dock or graving dock, so called because the ships could be brought in either under steam or sail power. The water then emptied out so that repairs could be done on the hull, whether that be something very minor like removing barnacles and repainting, or maybe repairing or replacing a damaged propeller, all sorts of things like that. And this is the Canning dry dock, and it dates to 1765. So it's been here for a few years. I just want to give you a head-on view of the Canning dry dock. Pretty impressive. And now turning literally through 180 degrees, we are facing the Museum of Liverpool. It's very modernistic, and I want to try and do some abstract architectural shots. Probably end up in black and white, I'm guessing. Well, I've come up the access ramp of the Museum of Liverpool. You can see the signage behind me, but it does give from up here a great elevated view of the Albert Dock, the Canning dry dock, and everything down there. Quite nice. Not sure what the stills will be like, and as I'm getting wetter and wetter, I'm probably going to wrap this up here and say a huge thank you for watching, and a huge thank you for commenting and subscribing. I hope everybody enjoys their photography, even when you're getting wet like I am. And I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.